So let's just come to a comfortable seat. Nice tall spine. Sitting on the centres of the sitting bones. Hands just comfortably in the lap. The shoulders fall away from the ears, and we can just switch on the Ujjayi breath. Following the breath in and out of the body. As you inhale, think about the crown of the head lifting up so you sit even taller. And as you exhale, just feel the weight rooting down into the mat. Good job. So let's make our way up to standing for our sun salutations. And just for a bit of fun, we'll put a few extra bits and pieces into the sun salutations today. So standing in the front half of the mat, feet at hip width, feeling nice and strong through the legs. So whenever we stand tall on the mat, we have the option of contracting the quads to lift the kneecaps up. So feel free to do that if you want to work a little harder. So let's inhale, raise the hands up, and then exhale, fold forwards into that nice hamstring stretch. With an inhale, lift and lengthen through the spine, and exhale to Chaturanga Dandasana. Now, if you've been doing this a while, try and bring the chest down a little further forward of the hands, and then you're kind of in the right place to inhale to your upward facing dog, and exhale to downward facing dog. So from here, just take a slightly longer downward facing dog stance so that you can inhale and bring the shoulders over the wrists for a plank pose, and then exhale, come back to downward facing dog. So we'll just have 4 more of those. So inhale to plank and exhale to downward facing dog. And try and firm through the abdomen here. So those abdominal muscles are nice and strong and everything feels nice and controlled as we move through between plank and downward facing dog. Now when you've done 5, we'll come back to our downward facing dog and stay there for 5 breaths as usual. So nice long straight spine, shoulders back away from the ears, tummy pulling in. And then with your next inhale, you can bring those feet to the hands, lengthen through the spine, and exhale, fold forwards, feeling that hamstring stretch again. Then inhale, come up, reach up, stretch up high, and exhale to standing. Brilliant. Second one then. Inhale, raise the hands. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift and lengthen. And exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Bringing the chest forwards if you can. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. So for this one, let's raise the right leg up, and then with an exhale, bend that knee close to the body and see if you can bring the shoulders over the wrist so the knee touches the tricep. And then we'll inhale up again. Exhale, tricep touch. Inhale up. So let's have 3 more, moving in time with the breath. Now, if you can't get the knee to touch the tricep, don't worry, just concentrate on curling the leg close to the body, and you want the leg very bent so that the heel is up close to the back of the thigh. And then when you've done 5, lower that foot, come to a downward facing dog, and we'll take 5 breaths here. Long straight spine, tummy pulling in. Ujjayi breathing. And then with an inhale, bring the feet to the hands, lengthen out the spine, and exhale, fold. Inhale, come up. and exhale to standing. Brilliant. Third one then. Inhale, raise the hands. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift and lengthen. And exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale to downward facing dog. And we'll take those tricep touches with the left leg. So inhale, raise the leg, and exhale, curl it to the body and shift the weight forward, shoulders over wrists. 5 of these, nice and slow. And then 5 breaths in downward facing dog. Then inhale, stepping lightly on the mat to bring the feet to the hands, lengthen out through the spine, and exhale, fold. Inhale, come up, and exhale to standing. Good. Last one of these. Inhale, raise the hands. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift and lengthen. And exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. So for this one, as we exhale, we're going to bend those knees and sit back towards the heels, but don't quite let the knees touch the floor. And then inhale, come back to the downward facing dog. So we'll have 5 of those. And then 5 breaths in downward facing dog. And then inhale, bring the feet to the hands, lengthen out the spine, and exhale, fold. Inhale, come up, and exhale to standing. Brilliant. So let's move right along to Surya Namaskar B. So bending the knees, we'll inhale, come to chair pose. Exhale, take a forward fold. Inhale, lift and lengthen, and exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Stepping lightly on the mat. Inhale, right foot forward, left foot flat. Stay low as you reach up into this lunge. And exhale, back to Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Then inhale, left foot forward, right foot flat. Warrior. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog for 5 breaths. So pulling that tummy in, lengthening the spine, stretching the heels down to the mat. And then with your next inhale, step, or you might jump to bring the feet to the hands, lengthen the spine, and exhale, fold, bend the knees. Inhale, lift up the hands, and exhale, straighten. Good. Second one, inhale, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, step or jump to your Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, right foot forward, left foot flat. Warrior. And exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left foot forward, right foot flat. Warrior. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog for 5 breaths. With the next inhale, step or jump the feet to the hands. Lengthen the spine. And exhale, bow forwards. Then bend your knees. Inhale, bring the hands up to chair pose. And exhale, straighten. Brilliant. Next one, inhale, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, right foot forward, left foot flat. Warrior. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left foot forward, right foot flat. Warrior. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. So let's raise the right leg here, bend the knee, drop the foot over behind you. Turn into a twist, so allow that right hip to come up. Tuck the left hip underneath you. Lengthen through the body. Looking out under the right arm. And then inhale, feet to hands, halfway up, long back. Exhale, fold, a little deeper now, hamstrings warming up. Bend the knees, inhale, lift the hands. Exhale, straighten. Fourth one, inhale, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog, chest comes through the upper arms. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, right foot forward, left foot flat. Warrior. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing. Inhale, left foot forward, right foot flat. Warrior. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. And we can raise the left leg. Bend the knee. Twizzle at the hips. Left hip pointing up, right hip tucking under, lengthen the waist. Pull the tummy in. And then inhale, feet to hands, halfway up, long back. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees. Inhale, lift up the hands. And exhale, straighten. Then last one. Chair pose. Forward fold. Long back. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Warrior. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Warrior. Chaturanga Dandasana. Upward facing dog and downward facing dog for 5 breaths. Keep that breathing under your control. And then feet to hands, forward fold, chair pose, and coming back to standing. Good stuff. So let's come to a standing forward bend. We can start with a stretch up of the hands and then come over. So just coming back into that hamstring stretch and staying there a while. You might hold on around the big toes. And then we'll have a go at sliding those hands underneath the feet. And with your next exhale, take those hands out from underneath the feet. Roll yourself up to standing. And we'll just take the weight onto the left foot and lift the right foot up. And we're just going to see about taking hold of the big toe and extending the leg out straight. Now, if that doesn't feel like it's going to happen, then instead hold on to the front of the knee here and stand very tall. So either leg extension or not, we're just trying to stand tall, pull the tummy in, slow, steady breathing. Now, if you are going for the extended leg, a little tip, the higher you can lift that foot, the closer it comes to the face. So the furthest away would be totally horizontal. But as you lift it higher, it's a little bit nearer, so a bit easier if you can. So you can open out to the side. Again, straight leg or bent knee, no problem, either way. And then we'll all bring that leg back to the middle and we'll all hold it out straight. So just let go with the hands. Try not to lean forward in this or lean back. Just stay nice and tall. Should be feeling it in the quad. And then we can release, well done. Give the legs a little shake. Have a go on the other side. Opening out. And then coming back to the middle, we'll hold that leg out straight. And release, well done. So let's step out for our wide leg standing forward bends. Nice wide stance with the toes pointing forwards. We'll inhale, raise the hands, and exhale, come over. Looking for a nice long straight back, so you can walk these hands forwards perhaps. Or you might be able to bring them back in line with the feet, hands pressing into the floor, elbows squeezing towards one another. Pull the tummy in, trying to turn the sit bones up towards the ceiling. And then we'll inhale, come up, stretch the hands high, and exhale, bring them onto the hips. Inhale, lift that chest, and exhale, come forwards. Holding the back out nice and straight, neck in line, so don't fling the head back. And then with the next inhale, we'll draw ourselves up, stretch the hands up high, and exhale, bring them behind us, interlace the fingers. Inhale, lift the chest, squeeze the shoulder blades towards one another. You might hold onto the elbows if interlacing the fingers like this feels uncomfortable. If you're all right with that interlace, you could go a little bit further by trying to squeeze the heels of the hands so they're touching. So just have a go, it's a little bit harder work. Inhale, lift the chest, and exhale, come over. Again, trying to draw that spine out straight. And then with the next inhale, draw yourself up when the body's upright, let go with the hands, stretch them high, and exhale, bring them onto the fronts of the thighs. Inhale, lift the chest, and exhale, come forward, sliding the hands down. Now either stay here, or if you want to come into the twist, cross the hands so the left arm is in front. Then turn to the right, turning clockwise, and duck underneath that left arm. Trying to face out the same way the toes are facing. And twisting, bring the right arm in front and then continue turning that way, anti-clockwise. Duck out underneath the right arm. And untwist. Good. Let's walk around to a downward facing dog. Take any little wiggles here, and then we're just going to have a go at a few chaturanga push-ups. So let's come to a plank, and then we exhale, just bending the elbows, and inhale, push the floor away. So see how many of these you have, up to 5. And then we can push back into a downward facing dog. Good, so from here, let's find a nice lunge. So step the right foot forward in between the hands, slide the left toes back. We're up on the toes here, that back foot isn't flat, but the leg is nice and strong and straight. So you can keep the hands down like this, or you can have a go at climbing them up onto the knee, or you could reach high. So push both feet into the floor. See if you can push forward through the left hip. So that's the one belonging to the extended leg, the leg going back. So you can find a stretch in that hip flexor. Good, so let's bring the hands back down if you raise them up. And then we're just going to turn in towards that bent leg and reach the hand high for a nice little twist. Keep dropping through the hips. And then we'll bring our hands on so they're both on the inside of the foot. Drop the hips, draw the body out long. Now if the floor doesn't feel too far away, you could come down onto one elbow or two elbows. But try and keep drawing the chest forwards along the mat. Brilliant. Then we'll climb back up and we'll just send that foot back. Come back to a downward facing dog. And then we'll just try that on the other side. So stepping forward with the left foot to find that nice long low lunge, sliding the right toes back a little bit. You might stay here or you might climb up. Again, if you're reaching the hands high, try pushing that right hip forwards with a nice straight strong leg. Now we can come into our twist, turning in towards the bent leg, left hand reaches high. Let's bring the hands so they're both on the inside of the foot. Maybe the toes can slide back a little bit further of that back foot. We can drop the hips a little closer to the ground. And from there, it might be possible to come down onto one elbow or two elbows. Keep dropping the hip and drawing the chest forwards. Back leg stays very straight. And then climbing up, sending the foot back. You can come back to a downward facing dog. And then we'll fold the legs underneath us, take a little rest in child's pose. And then we'll roll our way up and it's ready for plank challenge. So 8 breaths. I think we've got next week as well on 8 breaths, and then we move up to 9 breaths. So 8 breaths in side plank, 8 breaths in middle plank, 8 breaths in side plank on the other side. So if you can try and make your breaths 3 seconds per inhale and then 3 seconds per exhale, that'll be a good, slow, controlled breath. So let's give it a try. And then when you're done, just make your way back into child's pose, taking a little rest. And then we'll make our way up and into Cobblers Pose. So that's the soles of the feet together, external rotation at both hips. So just drawing those knees out towards the floor, pulling the tummy in, slow, steady ujjayi breathe in. Good, so from here we'll either come into a seated tree, so you're sliding the right leg out straight and just having the sole of the left foot against the inside of that thigh, or if you have a half lotus, then instead bring that foot just on top of the leg and as close to the body as you can. So see if with a bit of wiggling, nice and gentle though, see if you can get that heel touching the hip bone of the leg that's straight. So from here you can either take a little bit of a forward lean or you can sit up straight. Try and keep the back nice and a long straight line. And then we'll have a go at moving into Marichasana B. So just leave this foot, this externally rotated leg, just leave the foot where it is. So that's either going to be on the floor if you did the seated tree version, or on top of the leg if you went for the half lotus. And then this leg that's currently straight, we're going to bend it up. So the knee is pointing up to the ceiling and the foot is nice and flat on the floor. So from there, we're going to try and lean past that right leg, the bent leg, with the foot on the floor. Now, if you've got the half lotus, you might just want to try and come down so that that lotus leg is resting on the floor. And then we're just seeing if we can turn that shoulder over in its socket so the palm is facing the ceiling, and then catch that knee into the armpit, reach the hand around behind you and see if you can catch hold with the fingers of the other hand. So whether you are in the half lotus or the seated tree version, which would just have the foot on the floor, we're trying to keep a straight spine as we angle into this forward lean. Good stuff. So let's just gently release that, and we'll release that externally rotated hip leg. So we'll just bring that left leg out straight, and then we can have a go at Marichasana C, or its gentle twist modification, whichever one you like. So the gentle twist, just turning in towards that bent leg and allowing the arm to gently loop across, and you're just rotating the rib cage so that you might look out over the shoulder behind you. If you want to try the bind, then you might just sort of nudge that leg across out of the way a little bit for a moment while you try and turn that shoulder over in the socket, and see if you can get the armpit and the top of the knee close to one another, such that when you bend the arm, it comes around behind you, and then you can catch hold of it with the other hand. Brilliant, and then we'll just gently untwizzle and we'll slide that leg out, give it a little bit of a shake, and then we'll take those on the other side. So either a seated tree with this right foot against the inside of the left thigh, or lifting that foot up on top of the left thigh and trying to get it as close to the body as we can. So with the foot tucked in nice and close, when we draw this leg up and try and come into Marichyasana B, the foot is kind of not taking up so much space because it's tucked back into the fleshy part, the sort of tummy area, and that just makes it easier to fold up into this neat little shape which we need for our Marichyasana B. So bringing the foot up, finding your seated forward lean if you want to take one, or maybe you're in a seated tree with the foot resting on the mat. Either way, we've got this external rotation of the hip. Slow, steady breathing, tummy pulls in. Great, and then we'll try and draw this straight leg up, placing the foot flat on the floor, shifting the weight forwards onto the front part of the sitting bone. And then seeing if we can lean past this left leg, turn the shoulder over in its socket so the palm faces the ceiling, get the armpit to wrap around the knee and the hands to come together behind the back. And find some space in the pose if that's at all possible. Lengthening. And then we'll just gently release, and we'll release that externally rotated leg out straight, and just come into our gentle twist or our Marichyasana C. And then we'll release. We'll slide both legs out straight, and we'll just come to a seated forward bend. So walk yourself onto the front parts of those sitting bones, trying to get the hip crests to fold right down against the thighs. If possible, we're trying to get the rib cage to rest on the thighs and the hands just to rest on the floor. And check that the neck is lined up with the rest of the spine. You can just slide the hands back a little bit and have a go at a little lift. And then release. We'll come into a wide-legged seat. Either sitting up tall, perhaps using the hands beside the hips to help you, or rolling forwards onto the front parts of the sitting bones and bringing the hands to the ground in front. A modification is to hold on to the big toes. We'll gently make our way up, and we'll try another 2 variations of that pose for a little bit of fun. So just checking there's nothing to bang your head on behind you. We'll just come to a knees bent, feet flat on the floor position, and then we'll reach down in between the knees and catch hold of the big toes, shift the weight back onto the sit bones, and then lift the feet, push the chest forwards so that you don't roll backwards. And then we could try an arm balance version. So coming up into a kind of squat with the feet wide and the hands relatively wide, walking them as far back as they can go. And with the elbows bent, we're bending the knees to try and place the backs of the thighs onto the backs of the arms. And then we can begin to slowly slide those feet out, taking more weight on the hands. And then if you straighten the legs, you might be able to make your way into insect pose. Good stuff. And then just gently making your way back out. And we can take a little rest in Cobblers Pose again. Soles of the feet together. This time take a little forward lean. Good stuff. So it's time for our inversion. So whatever's part of your practice right now and whatever your space permits. So if you've got a nice blank wall and you can do a handstand, then go right ahead, perhaps making a downward facing dog with your heels touching the wall, and then taking a big step up and climbing into an inversion there. Or if you're more confident, turning to face the wall, placing the hands and using momentum to bring the feet up. Or if you have some other sophisticated way of getting into handstand, you could do that. Maybe you are going to take a headstand, or maybe a shoulder stand, or a gentle inversion. So gentle inversion, just lying onto the back and floating the feet into the air. But if you're going to go ahead and roll up into a shoulder stand, we're trying to get the shoulders tucked underneath us. So we're bearing the weight on the actual shoulder, and the elbows need to come quite close together behind us. I actually find that quite challenging, but I'm still working on it. So anyway, whichever inversion you want to have a go at, just have a go right now. Let's spend another 10 breaths in our inversion. And then we can gently begin to make our way down. And if there's a shape that feels good, maybe hugging the knees into the chest, or you might come into a child's pose. Whatever it is, just take your little gentle pose right here. And then we'll begin to make our way into Shavasana. So you might be lying with the arms and legs outstretched, or you might prefer to keep the legs bent. Knees can rest against one another, and we can tuck the lower back underneath. So there's no space for a hand to slide under the lowest part of the back. We can switch off the Ujjayi breath and let the breath become soft. mind starts to wander here, just see if you can keep the attention fixed on the sensations of the breath. The duration, the temperature, the sensations through the body that the breath brings. So you might feel the air entering at the nostrils. You might feel it pass along the nose to the throat. You might have a sensation of the lifting of the upper chest, the inflation of the rib cage, the rise and fall of the abdomen. So follow all of these things with your attention. And we'll have another 10 breaths or so here. And we'll have another 10 breaths or so here.